Greetings, Dale Bellisfield, aka HerbalDale, here with another simple recipe for you while you're sequestering in place. This one is for an inhaler, and for those of you who don't know, it's just made with essential oils and cotton ball in a jar. So first we'll talk about what are essential oils, and then because I'm including a lot of the what are called antiviral essential oils, we'll talk about what are viruses. So maybe we should start with what are viruses. And they're somewhere in between biochemistry and biology. They're not quite alive. So they have genetic material, either RNA or DNA, and they need a host, whether it be an animal or a human animal, to help them reproduce. They're pretty smart. Most of the viruses are not pathogenic, but there are at least 200 of them that affect humans. And so when we talk about antiviral essential oils, we don't know which virus they will be attacking or preventing from coming into our system. So the idea with an inhalant, that would be the oil in an inhaler, which I'll make in a little bit. So that would go into our nose, our sinus cavities, into our brain, and into our lungs, and do its wonderful job of depositing molecules which have all this great activity. So the viruses that affect us could be anywhere from Ebola to polio to herpes to yellow fever. There's a lot of really creepy ones. So we don't know, as I said, exactly which viruses these oils counteract, because they haven't done studies on every single one of them. But my thinking in putting this simple inhaler together is that it's another line of defense, since it goes into the areas that the COVID virus attacks, which is the mucous membranes, the sinuses, the throat, the lungs. So this is yet another level of protection. So that's why I decided to do this. So essential oils are oils that are bound up within the plants itself. And it could be from any aromatic part of the plant. That could be the flower, the bark, the wood itself, the seed, the root, the rhizome. And anything that has a fragrance is likely to have been considered a candidate for an essential oil. And they're only made through steam or solvent distillation. So you can't just compress, some roses and get the rose essential oil, for example. A rose has many, it takes many rose petals to put together one drop. So I read that it was 60 rose buds, that make one drop. So a lot of essential oils are quite expensive because of the amount of plant material that it takes to get into them. And as a result, you want to make sure that you're getting the top grade oils. That would be aromatherapy-grade rather than just a fragrance oil. So they would have the Latin name on them, and usually they have the country that they come from, and they're also in dark bottles because they're very sensitive to light and air and heat and moisture. They're called volatile oils, so the molecules bounce around a lot. And so that's why we are getting them into our sinuses when we inhale them and into our lungs. So here's how we make this. Really simple. A little bottle, this is a 1 ounce bottle, a cotton ball, which I'll pull in half to stuff it in there, and favorite essential oils. I'm using rosemary and eucalyptus, two that are extremely good for the lungs. And they help with congested sinuses as well as being antiviral. And I have a dropper. So that's it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a total of 60 drops. So in this case, I'm using 30 of each. Voila. And there's quite a few essential oils that have antiviral activity, and I have a list of them here. And I'm going to add the other 30 of rosemary. I added eucalyptus and rosemary. Good. And that's it. Simple and effective. So I put a label on them so you know what is in it and when it's made, because these can lose their fragrance as the molecules bounce off into the air. But we want them to bounce off into us. So the way you would use it would be to put it up to one nostril, closing the other. Take a deep inhale. Do it on the other side. And you can feel it. It's kind of cooling, and it smells kind of camphory, at least this blend. And it goes into your sinuses and lungs, and it goes into your brain. The essential oils impact an area of the brain called the limbic brain, which is a very ancient brain. And so it affects our memory, which is why certain smells can trigger memories of long ago in your life. It can also affect our heart rate, our mood, our blood pressure. So they have many, many activities. But we're going to work on its antimicrobial and its inhalation benefits just for this one. We're not going to be changing moods, though you might find your mood is more alert. Be well, stay well.